Hello everyone, welcome to IPM Academy once again. In this short video of mine, I'm going to talk about the admission procedure which is followed for the IPM program. I have made a couple of other videos where I have spoken about the exam pattern and the eligibility criteria to even write the exam. My name is Srinivas and I am the Chief Mentor and Director of Career Launcher Bangalore. I'm also an alumnus of IIM-Indore and I'm very happy to be helping my hopefully super juniors get into the college. Right, so let's start by looking at the first college, which is IPM-Indore. Now, the IPMAT is the entrance exam to get into IPM-Indore. So you're talking about IPMAT-Indore. Now, as I already mentioned in the previous video, there are 3 sections. And for a student to qualify the round 1, now what is round 1? Round 1 here is the entrance exam. Round 2 is your personal interview. And if you qualify both of them, you get your final selection. Okay. So for all the IIMs, the procedure more or less broadly is the same. You have to first qualify your entrance exam. If you qualify your entrance exam, you will get your chance to give an interview. If you perform well in the interview, then you will get your final selection. Now to qualify round 1, that is to qualify your entrance exam, the IPMAT has 3 sections which I have already discussed in the previous video. The 3 sections, a student should get a minimum requirement of marks. That is called as section-wise cutoff. It cannot be that somebody is getting very less in one section and getting very high in 2 sections. Such a student might not get qualified because the college, that is IIM-Indore, looks at good performance by a student in all the 3 sections. Now, the 3 sections for your recollection is Quant MCQ, that is Maths multiple choice questions, Maths short answer, and English MCQ. The number of questions, if you recollect, was 40, 20, and 40. Total 100 questions. Each question is worth 4 marks. So the total marks available in your Maths MCQ section is 40 into 4, which is 160 marks. All right. So the score that a student gets out of this 160 directly is called as the raw score. It is called as the raw score. This raw score will be converted into a scaled score. Similarly, there will be a raw score out of 80 marks for the second section. That will also be converted into a scaled score. And again, the third section, which is English, out of 160 marks, the student gets a raw score and it will be converted into a scaled score. Raw score is nothing but total score that you get. That is number of questions correct, number of questions negative, final score that you get. That is easy for you to understand. Scaled score is the process followed for them to convert into a scaled score. So this small thing which I mentioned here, this is the scaling process. So what they do, just for you to understand, let's say Srinivas, I am writing the exam. Okay, I have got in the first section out of 160 marks, I have got, let's say, 80 marks. I have got 80 marks. Now, of all the students who wrote, let us say the highest score by anybody in that section is 140 marks. And the least score by anybody is 0 marks. Okay, so their scaling happens in this manner according to the formula that I mentioned. Candidate score, that is my 80, minus minimum score, that is 0, divided by maximum score. Maximum score is not 160. It is how much student has got, 140, minus minimum score that any student has got, which is 0. So my score becomes 8 by 14. My score becomes 8 by 14. Okay, so 8 by 14, of this I take 25% weightage. Of this I take 25% weightage. So this will be called as my scaled score. So for everybody, the scores will start coming back, coming below or coming down to this level. Now from this, I take only 25%. I take only 25%. Similarly, I do the same scaling for short answers and I take 25% of it. And I do the same scaling for English and I take 50% of it. So if you notice, while there are two sections of mathematics, the total weightage for maths is equal to the total weightage of English, because the single English section is offering you 50% weightage. So you cannot neglect English. It's very, very important that you pay very high importance to English, because even if you are really good in both maths, but you're doing bad in English, because the weightage for English is 50%, your overall performance will get negatively affected. After getting these three scaled scores, the sum of them is called as the ATS, which is the aptitude test score. Now the ranking of the students will be done based on this ATS, and the top students that the institute wants to call for round 2 are selected based on this ATS, score. So usually around 700 to 800 students will be called by IIM-Indore based on the ATS score for round 2. Now what happens in round 2? Round 2 has a personal interaction or a personal interview or a personal assessment, whatever you call it. It is a interview face-to-face or through online because of the pandemic this year, right? So that's what happens in your second round. So the second round interview happens, you get marks for your interview. After your second round, finally another score will be calculated, which is called as Composite Score, CS. The Composite Score will have 65% weightage of your test score, so ATS, whatever you got here, 65% weightage, and a 35% weightage of your performance in interview. The net of these two scores in the weightages that I mentioned will be added up, and that will be called as the composite score. Now, out of the 700 to 800 students who have got the interview calls, they will calculate the composite score for all of these students, and based on the number of seats available, keeping few students as buffer, they will end up giving the final calls. That is a process for IIM-Indore. So thank you guys. I hope the session has been informative to you. I'm always available to you on this email ID and always glad to help you out with your queries. Thank you. See you in the next session.